Chris Barrett, Target Media's study, recommending a transition team to, as he put it, stand up the committee, ultimately a new tourism promotion agency committee. Board, sorry. This transition team would be a relatively small group, so they're kind of lean and mobile and able to meet schedules and come up with ultimately recommendations to the commissioners for appointees to a board of directors that would be the tourism promotion agency. As this, if you're inclined to appoint this team this morning, then parallel to them meeting and I guess vetting individuals who are interested, and we do have an ongoing list of interested individuals, so they already have their work cut out for them. But parallel to this, I've also worked with Dave Warner, our solicitor, so that he and another member of his firm can begin the process of creating a 501c6, which is also a recommendation of the study. That C6 would then become the shell for this committee to reside in, and ultimately be appointed the tourism promotion agency. A C6, by the way, differs from a C3 in that it's a trade it's a trade nonprofit which can conduct lobbying activities. So in other words, if there's if there's maybe a proposed change to the hotel tax or distribution of tourism dollars, something in Harrisburg that's the interest of that committee, they can under a C6 still be able to go to Harrisburg and lobby and advocate on their behalf. As I understand it, that's not something a C3 can do. So that's why the C6 was recommended differently, or as a different organization. So to come up with this list of transition team members, Commissioner Ames met with some of them. He and I both met jointly with some of them. Some of them have come from your recommendations, as all, each of you, to put together this group, and some of them have already worked with the county in the past to get to where we are. So with that, the proposal would be to appoint Mary Foltz, Jessica Penchard, Kathy Snavely, Chris Barrett, Jim Scott as a committee, with Bill Ames being liaison to the committee. He's already the liaison, obviously, to tourism. You were each given, I think, just brief bios that they emailed. I don't know if, Bill, you want to add anything to that. You know just as much as I do here. And Jim Scott, maybe you want to speak to Jim Scott for a moment. That might be a name that...
Yeah, I think most of the names are familiar to the board and to the media as well. Mary Foltz has a business here in the city called Service Counts. She's on the board of directors. Chamber of Commerce, and comes from basically a tourism background, having worked for Hershey and Disney and I think Olive Garden in that respect. Chris Barrett, of course, was the consultant that we hired through Target Media to do the study, and has offered to contribute going forward at no cost to the county. So this is a totally voluntary committee that we have going now. Jessica Penchard, of course, has been involved for 10 years in tourism in the county, and I think we all felt that we wouldn't take an asset like that and just dismiss it. So we're very pleased that Jessica has agreed to come on board and help the county with this new effort. And who else? Kathy Snavely, of course, again has precedes probably even or matches Jessica's tourism work earlier in earlier endeavors. Jim Scott is a person that I personally requested serve on the board, on the committee rather, the transition team, and he has no experience in tourism. He came forward out of the blue, not really knowing that we were planning to decertify the TPA. Asked what we were doing in tourism. He brought to me one of the tour guides from Hershey-Harrisburg, and he said, "Why doesn't it say Hershey-Harrisburg, Lebanon on here? I don't understand this. What are we doing in Lebanon County for tourism?" And I was taught a long time ago that when someone comes to you with a complaint and an idea, you appoint them as at least to the committee or on the committee. So he's a retired professor from Lebanon Valley College and is the vice chairman of the Board of Commissioners of Annville. I have by good source that he's a very hard worker, and I've been told that he'll make a huge contribution to that transition team. So that's my recommendation to the Board of Commissioners, that they approve this team and that we move forward.
Did you mention timetable?
No, I didn't. I would anticipate that this committee would report to you at some point and tell you where they are on it, and probably have a better prediction of the timeline.
This transition team is a short-term appointment, because their job is to get the actual board of directors appointed and up and running and assigned their work. I personally anticipate that we'll have a board of directors in place by September 1st.
One more comment on it. Is it your wish, I mean, you can appoint them just as a group if you'd like, but in terms of just setting some leadership, I guess Mary Foltz as the chair, so that there's...
We could just include that in the...
You can include that, or you can let the committee, sort it out. I'm not sure how you want to go about that.
I'm very comfortable with that. I don't think... You let the team, you mean, elect the chair?
It's
Or they could elect her, yeah.
They could, but you could state it, and that way you have someone at the helm to form a meeting.
Initiate it,
Yeah, exactly.
Are you comfortable with that?
Yes.
Gordy.
My other
Oh, I'm sorry. Gordy had his hand up, though. I just
Okay.
wanted to make a note.
my other question would be, some of our liaison assignments we have votes and some we don't. Is this a voting liaison assignment?
On this team, I would say no. I ask that I not be voting, but one of the recommendations that Chris Barrett has made is that there be one county commissioner on the board of directors as a voting member in the future.
So in the future it will be a voting position, but not in the transition team?
Right.
Okay. Are you comfortable with that?
I am.
Okay. Gordon, you had a question?
Is it possible that any member of the transition team could ultimately become a member of the board?
I would see that as a possibility.
And or a
Or-
staff person? Any of that's possible?
That'll be up to first of all, the committee appointments would be up to the commissioners come that time. And then any staffing would be up to the committee.
The board.
The board. I keep on calling
Board
it
of
the committee.
directors,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, the board.
Structurally, I would like some clarification. At what point do we say, this is what the commissioners expect? The audits, the budget, things of that nature. And in other words, how often that we get reports, those kinds of things that were not included in the previous proclamation. When are we going to do that? When we appoint the new TPA?
Now that should all be a part of what this transition team sets up.
All right,
So
well,
if
because
you-
if
if
it's
you
not
have-
there, then we should still have input. If there's things that aren't there that we've learned through experience, that should be there. Does that make sense?
Well, I think you, as a commissioner, you have the right to have input anywhere during this process, Commissioner. And if you have specific things that you would like conveyed to this transition team, you can either put them in writing, and I'll be happy to take them, or certainly you can feel free to attend any of those meetings as well.
I've been through this several times, and I don't want to see happen what happened again.
I think you touched on something that's important that'll probably happen, and that is when you appoint, you know, even though that committee, that 501c6 is created and populated, you will still have to designate that as the TPA, as the Tourism Promotion Agency, and then it will have to go through that process of ratification by the municipalities. Your designation of that in the form of a resolution can outline all of the expectations, some of which, the audits and such, are included in the hotel tax legislation. It's part of the statute already. So I think that that's probably where you'll really want to put all of those expectations is in the appointment resolution.
Okay.
And that way the municipalities can also see, you know, when they...
What's expected.
Yeah, what's expected when they go to ratify.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint the team as outlined.
Second?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries.